Australia Cola's global audience. Here with us is Mr. Charles Kovesh from Australia. He's a big guy in world hemp world. So, Charles, take your voice to the global audience, please, and please, we wait for your work. Very welcome in Slovenia and very welcome in global social medias.
Thank you very much, mate. It is wonderful to be with you. Now, the one question that I meant to ask was how much time do I have for this presentation conversation?
How many you take it, so many you have.
Thank you very much.
You are a special guest here.
Thank you. Well, it's lovely to be with you and congratulations on your work in hemp. I am Charles Kovesh. You said my name beautifully, but in English I say Kovesh. My parents were migrants from Hungary in 1949. And so on this journey, I was born in 1952. I am now almost 63 years old, and I am the second of 6 children. So my parents, all of us were born in Australia, and we all speak fluent Hungarian. And I have lived in Australia all my life. So, prior to becoming involved in hemp 3 years ago, textile and composite industries, I was for 20 years an international business lawyer, international tax lawyer. And now I am the international marketing director for textile and composite industries. Now this company was founded 21 years ago by Adrian Francis Clark, a man who in 1994 discovered that hemp, industrial hemp, non-drug hemp, is going to be the most important agricultural product that will be of great benefit for the whole world. And so for 21 years, Adrian Clark, on whose behalf I'm speaking today, Adrian Clark has been discovering how to make hemp into a mainstream product and just a small cottage industry. Now this is an important issue because all of us who know anything about hemp know how good it is, but the problem has been decortication. Decortication is very expensive, and if there is retting of the hemp plant, that is expensive and it damages the fibre and the herb. So Adrian, 21 years ago, said he will develop a machine, a decorticator machine, to solve this problem. And I assure all of the participants in this World Hemp Conference that we have solved this problem, and it is a revolution. I really want you to think revolution, that this machine does what we say that it does. So we have developed a decortication machine, so it requires no retting, and the results, the products that are produced out of this machine are the best the world has ever seen. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to show you pictures of this fibre. I'm going to take you through the journeys. There's some people who know lots about hemp. There are others who know less about hemp. But I have done this presentation, similar presentations over the years, and the people who have seen it have been very well educated. So if we go on to the next slide. What is hemp? First, it is not marijuana. It is non-drug industrial hemp, we call it, and it is important to understand that concept, non-drug industrial hemp, when I'm talking to people, because you know and I know the politicians have tried to make hemp difficult, have tried to confuse people so that they think it is marijuana. It is a wonderful source of fibre, of herd. It is a wonderful, wonderful food. The next slide says, this is the new style of hemp fibre never seen before. The picture there in the shape of a heart, it is, we call it TCI, unretted decorticated hemp fibre. It can be a textile or a composite. That is why our company name is Textile Composite Industries. Next slide is called hemp stems. The green bark is where the fibre is, the white part is the herb. And in the materials, we generally say 30% is fibre, 70% is herb. Next slide is the guiding philosophy of the founders of TCI. Now this is very important, and I wish to congratulate you for putting this Congress together, and I want you to understand how difficult this has been for Adrian Clark. He has been doing this for 21 years. I have been working with him for 3 years. He started on this journey because, and with my parents who are migrants, refugees from Hungary, he could see that true human freedom only happens if there is a farming sector of successful, profitable family farms to ensure that the government cannot control everybody. Human freedom is why Adrian Clark started on this journey. And he believes, and I agree with him, that if the hemp industry goes in the direction that we are seeking for it to go, then family farms will become more profitable, the planet will be cleaner, there will be less greenhouse gas emissions, soils will improve, farmers will make more profits, and people can stay on farms and they will not have to move into the cities all around the world. And if that happened, that would be a disaster. That would be a disaster because then major corporations would be controlling people, would be controlling farmland, and governments would control people. So please, I urge everybody to think this issue that human freedom is linked to successful family farms who can produce their own food, produce their own products. That is what Adrian Clark and TCI is wanting to enable. Now, this guiding philosophy means that over the 21 years that Adrian Clark has been doing this work, there are many people to what Adrian and we are trying to do. There are many people in 1937 in America who caused hemp to be banned. There are people in the chemical industry, Monsanto, DuPont. There are people in the steel industry. There are people in the oil industry. There are people in the cotton industry who do not want hemp to succeed. And those powerful forces are still working today, although 26 states in America have legalized hemp. Federally, it has still not been totally legalized, even though, of course, across the border in Canada, they can grow hemp. We must understand this difficult political situation, and we have been hindered by such politics. But what we are trying to do will be good for farmers, will be good for the planet, will be good for the future of our children and grandchildren. Next slide. The protection of TCI's intellectual property. TCI is the owner of the patent that protects the decortication technology. TCI also owns extensive know-how. We have know-how about the use of the decorticator. We have know-how about global markets for hemp products. We have know-how about processing hemp, and we have know-how about value adding to hemp raw materials to produce a vast range of valuable products. Now, there is another issue in the various in the growth of hemp globally. And I also wish to share our great disappointment with many people in Europe who, and in Canada and in America, who spread false messages that Adrian Clark's decortication machine does not work. I urge anybody listening to this presentation to go to our website. The videos of this decorticator are working. When Adrian took his machine to Italy 5 years ago, the Italians thought that he was playing a trick because they did not believe it was possible to decorticate without retting. People who do not believe something is possible, even when they see it on a video, even when they see it in front of themselves, have difficulty believing this is possible. I promise you this is possible. I have stood there with the machine, it is possible. I have samples of fibre I can send to any of you so you can test it. It is possible, it is working, and anybody who tells you it is not successful or not working, I call them a liar. Not only is it a lie, but it is probably defamatory, because those people who say this have not come to Australia to look at this machine. And I want to be very strong about this, that it is the people who do not want our machine to work who say it does not work. There are people with European-style decortication machines that damage the fibre, damage the herd, who sell their machines for 10, 15, 20 million euros, who are very threatened by our TCI machine. Now, I urge people who want the hemp industry to succeed to work cooperatively. If people have doubts, they should get in touch with us. They should fly to Australia. It is ridiculous for anybody to criticise our machine without coming to Australia. It is now so cheap to fly anywhere in the world. It is ridiculous. So please, in this industry, we must work together. This is such a big opportunity for everybody who wishes to be involved in it, that it does not require people to be saying bad things about other people if they are untrue. And I assure you, they are untrue when they say the machine does not work. Next slide, please, Maida.
Yes.
Almost nothing. Big one?
Yes, almost nothing.
Almost nothing can be done with hemp until the herd is taken out of the fibre. That is decortication. And there's a beautiful picture there, beautiful colour picture of the fibre coming off. There are three main methods of taking the herd from the fibre, or the fibre from the herd. The traditional model, the traditional way, the modern European way, and our way, the TCI way. Next page, next slide. These are ideal industrial hemp crops. And you look how closely they are planted. There is minimal branching. These crops are 4 metres tall and grown in 90 days. They yielded 3 tonnes of fibre and 7 tonnes of herd per hectare. Next slide. The first two methods of processing hemp require retting, field retting or water retting. The pictures that we show you are field retting, where the stems are laid on the ground for weeks and weeks. They tie up production, they are expensive, and that is the way that retting was done. The next page. Sheaves and stooks. Hemp processed the same way as flax. These are the sheaves of hemp stems. They are made, I'm sorry, I'm having a problem reading. This is one stage. These hemp stems are made into standing sticks, and there's one stage in the traditional processing of hemp for fibre to make hemp linen. It is used in water retting. There is a picture there of Adrian Clark in 2007 standing in front of stooks of hemp stems. In China, Adrian Clark spent 6 months in China working with textile manufacturers. These stacks of hemp, the next slide, the stacks of hemp are to be water retted, to be decorticated. Next slide, water retting requires to soak the hemp in warm water for 3 weeks. Field retting can be done where there is dew. Water retting is done where it is too hot for dew. The next slide. This is the overview of the modern European hemp processor. You can gauge its size by the huge bales in the left bottom corner of hemp. This makes fibre, herd and collected dust. The fibre is so that it cannot be used in textiles or for strong composites. That is why herd is only used for non-structural use in Mercedes, Audi, BMW. Our fibre can be used to make the car body, can be used to make the frame of the car. This is going to be a revolution. The next slide. Now we look at the modern European decorticator, current very expensive decorticator. Before the hemp arrives in, and the reason why I'm going through this is to understand the traditional process and then why TCI machine is so revolutionary. We look at the modern European decorticator. Before the hemp arrives in bales at this type of mill, it is chopped, turned and retted for months. These mills then hammer the retted billets of hemp stem several times. Next slide. The modern European hemp mill is very expensive. A process line like this to decorticate 10 tonnes an hour costs millions of euros. Almost everything is subsidised, from planting to retting to building these mills and using them. In Australia, we found it impossible to field ret or to water it, so we found a way to decorticate without retting at all, or without subsidies. The next slide, and here is our machine. This TCI machine decorticates hemp that has not been retted. The hemp can be green and fresh or dry. This machine does the fundamental job of decortication. This is the machine sitting in the factory. It is a very sophisticated machine. It took 18 years and very sophisticated engineering to work out how to decorticate the hemp stems. Next slide. There is a picture of the step D8 decorticator. That is the one that is readily available now. We can feed the stems in the chute at the top, and the fibre lands on a mechanism so the herd goes one way and the clean fibre goes another. You will see a picture there of Adrian Park in 2007 sitting in front of a big pile of hemp fibre with a big smile on his face. So his smile goes with the pile. There's a little bit of poetry for us. Now, this static decorticator, I wish to discuss how in the field, when you grow hemp, it comes into this decorticator. The hemp has to be cut. It then has to be put through the decorticator, and there are 2 ways to do that. It can be done in field, or it can be brought into a factory. So one decorticator can be in a central place, and farmers from around can bring in the hemp stalks. Now, this decorticator can process up to 5 tonnes per hour, 5 tonnes of hemp stalk. That will produce 1.5 tonnes of fibre, 3.5 tonnes of herd. Question of how much hemp stalk can be put through this decorticator will depend on sophisticated conveyor systems. So each place where one of these decorticators will be, they will have different factories, different requirements. Conveyor systems will be simple or complex. They will be sophisticated and effective. That is what will determine whether the decorticator processes 1 tonne or up to 5 tonnes per hour. So this is the static model. Now, if you want to do some numbers in Slovenia, because you are based in Slovenia, if you were to grow 100 hectares of hemp, that would produce 1,000 tonnes of hemp. If we didn't have good conveyor system and they were hand-fed, not sophisticated, we would probably put 1 tonne per hour through the machine, so it would take 1,000 hours to decorticate 1,000 tonnes. If we had a good conveyor system, it would take 200 hours. In Australia, we would expect to run such a machine for 100 hours a week. So you do your own numbers. If you bring the hemp into a factory, it could be decorticated over winter. That is, we will happily share our information on the process for doing this. Now, next slide, please. This is a picture of the TCI harvesting decorticator. The D8 decorticator can be installed in a harvesting system that will process 10 tonnes an hour. This produces herd and fibre as it moves through the field. This machine will be ready in 2017. The D8 is ready now. When we have enough development money, we will do a very sophisticated machine that can go into the farm and do 10 tonnes per hour. It is not necessary now, but as the industry grows, there will be more money for a more sophisticated machine. What I wish to stress is that the decortication process itself is contained in the D8 machine. That has been fully developed. The harvesting decorticator, that is standard agricultural processing. It just requires money. There is no new innovation required there. The next slide, please. I now wish to talk about the characteristics of the fibre, and that depends on the... Yes?
There are what's from here, this fiber can be used from...
No, the one before. Yes, this one is the next.
It starts with the characteristics of the fibre. It is slide number 19.
Yes, we have now. Then, please, take a look.
Okay. The characteristics of... Is that okay, one?
Yes.
Okay, I will go on. The characteristics of the fibre... Sorry, Maida.
We hear you excellent. Thank you.
Wonderful. The characteristics of the fibre depends on the growth stage of the hemp. The fresh green hemp is the first picture on the left-hand side. You can see how wet that is. And we wish to bring to your attention that we believe that when we squeeze that fresh green hemp, that will produce beautiful hemp juice, which will be very important and valuable. The middle picture is the mature hemp after the seed has, after seed, it's a dry hemp. And on the right-hand side, I'm a bit confused here, that it's mature hemp on the third, yes, the green hemp on the left, mature hemp after seed on the right, and then dry hemp on the right-hand side. All hemp stalks are the same to our decorticator. All can be used to produce textiles or composites. We point out that the green hemp 12 microns. That is beautiful, that makes beautiful textiles that Adrian Clark produced in China at the biggest Chinese textile mills. The next slide. From here, this fibre can be used for composites, or it can be degummed for textiles. So you'll see there from our New Zealand machine the beautiful fibre, and that's green fibre on the left, and then Adrian Clark standing there holding fibre under the static machine on the right-hand side. The next slide, the secondary product is also valuable, the herd. We show you two pictures. On the left, two of our directors standing on a big pile of herd that came out of our machine. This is unretted herd. It can be used to make paper, cellulose plastics, cellulosic materials, fuel, ethanol, animal bedding and building products. It has not been retted. That is why it has more uses and better uses. The next slide, a hemp herd and binder wall. You will have seen these in Europe. We have made these walls in Melbourne, Australia, and they are beautiful walls, as you know, and wonderfully environmentally clean. Next slide. There are thousands of hemp houses in Europe that you well know. Hemp herd is used for adding insulation also to existing houses. Next slide, hemp fibre in composite materials. These two pictures show opening the fibre. That is a Fear Naught machine. The left-hand picture, it's a little bit hard to see. It shows the opening of the fibre from the decorticator in the field. We then needle punch that into a mat. It can be used for very strong composites. If you go to the internet on YouTube, have a look at Henry Ford with his hemp motor car in 1937, hitting it with a sledgehammer. Our fibre, because it has not been retted, is incredibly strong. It's almost as strong as carbon fibre. And again, I repeat my invitation to anybody who wants a sample of this fibre to get in touch with us, and we will send them samples. Now, the next slide. Hemp composites are light and strong, the ideal replacement for fiberglass and some carbon fibre. We are showing you there three pictures. Shipping pallets and caravans and even car bodies can be made from TCI's super strong, unretted hemp. The picture there on the left of three people are holding a shipping pallet, and that shipping pallet weighs 5 kilograms, and it performs as well. It performs just as well as a 40-kilogram timber pallet. We believe shipping pallets will be an extraordinary use for our strong fibres. In the middle is a board, is a strong board made with the fibre and the herd, and on the right is a motor car. We made Lotus in the United Kingdom use our fibre to make a very strong Lotus motor car body. Next slide. I want to now talk about our fibre for textiles. First, it must be degummed. And we are showing you some dyeworks pressure vats, and all of the equipment that we use is standard textile production machinery. We developed a natural enzyme method, and that's one way, and then we worked with the International Fibre Centre at Geelong in Australia, and we developed a faster method using dyeworks pressure vats. Next slide. Come back to the previous slide, Yes, I want you to come back to the previous slide. On the picture of the dye vats, it takes us 3 hours to cottonize our fibre, to degum it so it looks like cotton, it looks like wool, and the most important thing, it can be spun on standard cotton spinning equipment. We do not need long line spinners. This is the extraordinary revolution. It looks like cotton, it looks like wool. The next slide, it takes 3 hours to do it. So Adrian's dream has always been to cut the crop in the morning, to degum it at lunchtime, and to spin it into yarn in the afternoon and produce textiles at night, all in one day, and it is possible. The next slide. After the pressure cooker, the fibre is rinsed and dried. To understand our degumming process, which has also been patented, you can go to our website. There is a 6-minute beautiful YouTube video that shows precisely how the raw fibre is put under pressure, put in with natural chemicals, it remains organic, and it is rinsed and dried 3 times. The dry fibre, there are 2 pictures there, is opened in a fear knot, and then it is carded. From there it goes into a standard cotton spinning mill. The next slide starts with slide number 28. Just to reinforce what you have seen so far, on the left is traditional hemp. On the right is TCI hemp that has been made into yarn, and it looks like cotton. The traditional hemp has been coloured by field reading. It has taken some months since cutting to reach this stage. 90% of the fibre was lost during this process. TCI took 4 hours from being cut to being spun. Only 10% was lost in the process. This is a revolution. This reduces the price of cotton yarn from 6 times more expensive to cotton down to only twice the price of cotton. This is a revolution. This is what will make hemp mainstream in hemp fibre mainstream industry, and hemp composite expand its uses dramatically because it is almost as strong as carbon fibre. The next slide, second last slide, slide number 29. TCI technology enables hemp to take its place in the consumer market. Hemp requires no toxic chemicals. It uses about 20% of the water that cotton uses. It is organic and biodynamic production. Hemp is naturally antibiotic and cuts UV, ultraviolet rays. Our technology slashes the cost of processing and starts its work on the farm so regional industries can flourish. On the last page is my contact details for anybody who wishes to send me an email, who wishes to receive a sample of our super strong hemp fibre. Everybody to whom we have sent this sample cannot believe how strong it is. It is stronger than fiberglass. It can replace fiberglass. Companies that need to reduce their carbon footprint, who presently use fiberglass, should be using our hemp fibre. Now, there is another big idea that I wish to share with you all. The reason why farmers who produce food, other ag business who produce essentials for human life, why is it that those farmers do not make significant profits? The answer is because their products are commoditized. There are middlemen, there are traders, they are the ones, retailers, the middlemen make the profits and the farmers do not. Our TCI vision for the future of the hemp industry, for the growth of the hemp industry, is to drive end buyers, is to drive the market of end buyers who wish to buy hemp fibre, hemp hurd, hemp seed, and when that demand continues to increase, their production goes up. We do not want a situation where large numbers of farmers grow large quantities of hemp and nobody wants to buy it. Therefore, we will be very strategic. We will help the strategic growth of the industry. We will not be selling our decorticator, large numbers of decorticators, to anybody who wants them. We will help to have strategic growth so that the demand for hemp is more than the production of hemp. Now, we have also found that, as all of you experienced in hemp will know, the end markets, the people who need composites, the ethanol producers, the textile producers, they say, we will use this if the price is reasonable and there's guaranteed supply. When we talk to farmers, they say, well, we're not going to grow it until we do not want farmers in the hemp industry. Why we invented this machine, 20 years of work. The product from this machine is better than anything that's been seen before. The price of it is attractive. It improves the environment. It requires less chemicals. And then in Slovenia, in Hungary, every region that grows this hemp can then use it in 25,000 different products that can be made to generate jobs. We are strongly of the view we want to generate jobs in the hemp industry, and we think it is a mistake to try to eliminate jobs to save money when the world needs jobs, when human beings need jobs. We believe hemp is the future of the planet, and we believe that all those interested in hemp, if they can work together, share their ideas, rather than criticising other people, then the opportunities for everybody in this industry are magnificent. We wish to work with everybody. We are happy to answer questions of everybody via email, and we are happy to supply our white paper on what I have here. For anybody who sends me an email or goes to our website, which is on the screen, which is textilecomposite.com.au. Thus, Maida, that is my presentation, and I hope you were able to hear it and understand it clearly.
We will share your presentation, so applause for you. Thank you very much, Charles. I will take word to our audience, please, if you can answer a question.
Yes, it is a little bit distorted as you asked, but I can hear you okay, so I'm happy to answer questions. I love questions.
Hello, Charles. Good afternoon. This is Raphael, running a hemp farm in Germany. And thank you very much for your pretty much persuading lecture. My question is, if you have any figures, like numbers, like euros or dollars for your technology, so the investment for the factory and the cost of the fiber, let's say per kilo, per ton, if they are already processed. Thank you very much.
Yes, that is an excellent question. Here we are very clear on what the costs of production are, and we are very clear on what the value of our products are. Our philosophy is that the numbers that we have experienced, and this is right around the world, there are two, remember we are driven by making profits, helping farmers be profitable. There are two ways in which we can deal with farmers. The farmer takes the market risk, or we at TCI take the market risk. So we get the contracts and we contract the farmer. So all the farmer has to worry about is to produce the hemp. Our philosophy is that the farmer should earn $1,000 profit per hectare. Second, we believe that if we work with the farmer and the farmer takes the market risk, the farmer can make up to $5,000 per hectare profit if he works well to sell the fibre and the herd, because the fibre is worth $2,000 a tonne and the herd is worth between $400 a tonne and $1,000 a tonne. The exact numbers will depend on labour costs, but I we are of the view that hemp can be so profitable that we do not have to eliminate labour. And I assure you that right around the world, people are becoming more aware of how ridiculous it is to have slave labour, have child labour in Bangladesh to produce cheap cotton t-shirts that children in Germany and Australia wear 3 times and then throw out. That is a ridiculous business model. And in hemp, we have to fight against that nonsense. And if we produce a beautiful hemp t-shirt, we do not want children buying it for $5, wearing it 3 times and throwing it in the rubbish. We want that hemp t-shirt $20 and the children wear it for 5 years. As you all know, that can be done. Come back to profitability. If the farmer takes no market risk, we want the farmer to earn $1,000 profit. If he takes the market risk, then the profit can be up to $2,000, $3,000, even $5,000 profit, because the fibre alone is worth $2,000 a tonne, and each hectare of hemp can produce 3 tonnes of fibre at $2,000 US per tonne. That's $6,000 gross revenue per hectare.
Next question. Can we see your decorticator anywhere in Europe? Is the decorticator in Europe from Australia? Maybe next year in Slovenia you bring a decorticator to show us.
Charles, can you hear us?
Sorry, I didn't know if the question had stopped. It wasn't clear. Maida, could you repeat the question?
Yes, I repeat. I wanted to know if we can see your decorticator anywhere in Europe. And the next question, maybe you can bring your decorticator to Europe, to Slovenia next year for this Hemp Congress. Thank you.
Excellent question. Yes, we will bring it to Slovenia next year. We are working on manufacturing it in Central Europe. I have been disappointed that the Hungarian government has not yet embraced what we wish to do. Perhaps the Slovenian government will be the one that we work with.
Hello, Charles. Next question from here. I just wanted to ask, with regards to, I know what the situation is with regards to the water issues in Australia. I don't know if it's in the same region as where the cotton is grown, but what has the response been from the farmers that you have introduced this decorticator to, and have they responded? What's their response been like? Thank you.
That sounded like a good question, but I sadly got it got not decorticated. Yes, it did get decorticated. Your question, but
I'll just repeat my
could
question.
you repeat?
Yeah, sorry. My question was, I know for the past few years the issue with regards to water droughts in Australia. So I don't know if the water droughts are in the same regions as where the cotton is grown in Australia, whether it's north, south, east or west, but what has been the response from the farmers and also from your Prime Minister if he's shown the many benefits of this machine and how it can put the Australian farmers in a plus position? Thank you. Did you hear that?
And yes, I'm delighted that you can hear me clearly, and every time I hear you, it's distorted. But I'm hearing you talk about water and government and drought. We in Australia do not recommend growing hemp unless there is irrigation water available. It doesn't mean that it needs because there's enough rain, but we have over the 20 years, farmers have lost crops because it got too hot. So that's what we recommend: irrigation water available.
So, Charles, is your second name Köves, like a Hungary name, second name?
That's correct. That's correct.
Wonderful.
And-
Many people
and-
ask me how they must understand your name. So, wonderful, 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 wonderful work and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful word. You take the word of hemp to audience, to global audience. I hope that many people hear us, that many people understand us, and so I take big greetings in Australia and thank you very much. And so you was invited in Slovenia next year with your team, and I hope that we will see each other next year here in Green Hemp Congress room, and that we will know each other. This will be nice time for us. Very welcome and bye bye to Australia.
Thank you very much.
Great work. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
We will take a 5-minute break. That we made a connection with the United States. In another occasion, we will be with another speakers live here in the conference room. Thank you very much.